And welcome back to episode 83 of the Weekly Tech Rant with me, Jay.
And me, Carl.
Hey, Carl, how are you doing on this Easter weekend? As we're slightly late with our production this week due to outside forces, but we're coming to you ahead of the long Easter weekend here in the UK and in many other countries, aren't we? So it's a slightly different recording schedule today.
It is indeed, but I'm good. It's a nice sunny day. It's fairly warm. I can't complain.
So
How
you've
about
done
you?
it now. You've done it now. You've said the S word, haven't you? You've said the S
Oh, I
word.
have. I have.
I can see the clouds rolling in now. Um,
Prepare for snow.
yeah, but no, this is cool. It's been good. It's been an interesting week. I finally got back on a plane on the first time within after 2 years. So all
You
good.
did.
Yeah, managed to do some business travel, which was quite impressive. Bit of tech out and about. It's amazing how you see people with their laptops left unlocked and unattended in airport lounges.
Does
Um,
no one ever learn?
no one ever learns. No one ever learns. But it has been again another interesting week in the world of tech. The last the last 24 hours have certainly been an interesting one for a certain
They
company, which
have.
we'll talk about in a minute. But we've got a good lineup of stories for you this week. Some interesting ones around, well, let's just say licensing and people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones is probably a good way to look at that. But let's get kicking then with the first story this week, which actually comes from Google and is alluding to, as I was saying, around licensing. And well, I'm pretty sure Apple were in hot water over a certain similar situation not that long ago. Wouldn't you agree?
I'm pretty sure Google are going through court about this at the moment.
So the point being here is that Google now are cracking down on in-app purchases and around having apps that have to use the Google Play billing system. And
They
there's
do.
been some kind of big failings on this on certain apps, isn't there?
I have. So this came about in what 2020? I think September 2020. Google announced that all in-app transactions required to use the Google billing platform. So they couldn't use third-party in-app billing systems. So basically, they had to remove that, put Google's Play system in to comply with their policy. Well, that was meant to be done by September
Oh, sorry.
2021. Oh, bless you.
Sorry,
September
that came out of
2021.
nowhere.
No worries. No, so everyone had a deadline of September 2021 to do this. Came and went, and Google extended it by another 6 months. Well, that brought us to what, March. It seems that Barnes and Noble, our ebook friends, and
Yep.
Amazon's Audible platform for their audiobooks, decided at that point, nope, they're not going to do it. So now you just can't buy any of your ebooks, your audiobooks within those two apps on the Android platform. So you'll have to go to their websites, I suppose, and
Yep.
purchase your books there.
So I mean, this I can't help but thinking we've seen this before. The whole recent thing
Yes.
of the last 2 years of Apple being dragged over hot coals because of the App Store and use of billing systems, and we talked about recently with the Dutch systems and third party payment.
Yep.
And Google here just are living in a completely different universe where clearly none of that's happening.
They've got to have seen the news, the lawsuits, and they're going through lawsuits themselves against Epic and stuff like that. But they thought, sod it, I'm gonna do it anyway.
What's the harm here?
Why haven't they just gone, you know what? It's still a bit up in the air. We don't know which way it's going. Let's just extend this. We've already extended it by another 6 months. Let's just chuck another 6 months on there and reevaluate at that point.
I mean, imagine if you are a Barnes and Noble app user here on Android. A bit like the Kindle app. You buy your books through there. You enjoy the content, and you're like, perfect. Got a long weekend coming up. I want to buy a couple of books. I'm going to sit. I'm going to sit by the sea or something. I don't know. No, sorry. Nope, sorry, can't do it. No transaction. What the hell? You're going to be going nuts, aren't you? Because unless you've been following it, you're not going to understand why you can't purchase any content in your app anymore.
I imagine they're going to put some banners in there, but I suppose
Oh, well,
you can
yeah,
just
but
pop
I mean,
open
you're going to be
Chrome
slightly
or
cheesed off.
you will do it. They made life more difficult. I mean, I know, you could just pop open Chrome, go to the same thing, and buy it. I imagine, providing their website actually half works on a mobile. I've not tried that one. If you're an Amazon Audible person, though, you can still use your credits. So I think when you sign up to Audible, you get so many credits a month to buy
that's
books
right.
with,
Yeah.
because that's part of a subscription. So you can still do that one. And actually, you can sign up for an Audible membership which will use the Google billing platform. You just can't
Okay.
buy
Okay.
one-off audiobooks, apparently. So I'm guessing Amazon Audible are still paying a percentage cut to Google at that point for your subscription.
But haven't they got some developer pilot program going on here? Apparently, that
They have, but obviously
yeah.
only for Spotify at the moment.
Ah, yes, yes, of course. Yes, Spotify of all of the
Spotify
apps.
only.
Yes, So, what would you buy through Spotify? I suppose you could buy
It's
content.
the
I suppose, couldn't
subscription
you?
part, isn't it? I think it's you're buying the subscription, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. Ah, yeah, yeah, of course, of course. But I suppose. But you think surely though you'd want companies to take advantage of that pilot program, perhaps that are using it. But I suppose you need to offer Google's system before they can do their own. I suppose that's the way they want you to do, isn't it? They want you
Yeah,
to,
and I think you're still
yeah.
using. I'm not sure how this works. Are you still using the Google billing system, but it pushes the pay or the libraries, for the development, but it pushes the payment out to a third party you integrate via the Google billing system, or is this a direct link to the third parties? I don't know how this trial one works.
No, it's very odd. But I think Google here have kind of I think generated bad PR for themselves unintentionally. Um, but it's probably not a good place to be given all of the
No,
folks in Apple. I'm sure Apple are quite happy for this to happen. They're probably thinking, "Great, you've taken some of the heat from us. We can we'll just carry on
definitely,
what we were doing, but you people are going to stare at you instead." So yeah, all good,
definitely.
all good.
Now, thinking about it, I reckon it's going to be an integration you have to do with Google's billing platform to your third party, because that way Google can still get all your analytics.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
isn't going to be a direct link, so yeah, you have to have the Google billing platform built in, and then you can integrate that with a third party. And I'm sure there'll be a reduced fee, whether it's only like 3% like Apple do, but I'm sure Google want it that way.
Well, yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, it would make sense, wouldn't it, if that's what they're going to offer? But
Yeah,
oh dear. So, talking of money, then let's roll into the next story, which is kind of the biggest one I think in the last
loads of
24
money.
hours. Yeah. So then, to set the scene, then. So last week, Elon Musk, him of
Yep,
SpaceX, Twitter. What else has he got?
Tesla.
Tesla, of course. A few other things. Likes to wind up the SEC. Likes to annoy pretty much everybody. Effectively, he is Tony Stark, isn't he?
Well, he likes to think he is. Yeah, yeah.
you
There
know,
is no
well,
Iron Man suit yet.
yeah. The
Yeah,
word in that
yes,
sentence is yet. When you've got what nearly $280 billion, give or take, depending on
yeah.
what day of the week it is. I'm not sure that's far away, but he's a big user of Twitter. He likes using Twitter. He likes
He
to say he
does.
likes to wind up the SEC on Twitter. He likes to wind up everybody else. And he's been wanting an edit button, I understand, for some time. So I think apparently last week, then it was made public that he dropped some cash and bought 9.2% of Twitter, didn't he? Becoming their
He did.
largest
Yeah,
shareholder overnight,
two
which was,
point
I
eight
think,
nine billion.
yeah, which was 73 million shares, wasn't it, give or take?
Yeah, and considering Jack Dorsey himself only has 2.2%, that's a big old chunk he's bought.
Yeah, well, I said he was the biggest shareholder, and he was
He is.
invited
Yep,
invited to join the board, wasn't he, by the
he
CEO?
was.
Um, but he didn't want it. He didn't want to go, did he?
Well, we know why now, but because obviously that would put a cap on the amount of stock he could buy. It'd be limited to 15% of the company. It's all he could buy if he was a board member. So he's declined that one, hasn't he? And
Yeah, so and nobody could quite understand because last weekend there was, I think it was last Sunday, wasn't it? There was a statement saying that he's decided he wasn't going to join the board, and the
yeah,
CEO basically said that's fine. We respect that, and kind of worded it to say we didn't think you would, wouldn't it? Basically,
yeah,
um, however, as I say, however, yesterday, as you say, the true plan
yeah.
became apparent, wasn't it? I'll let you tee that up.
Well, I'm surprised he didn't tweet this. But yeah, apparently he put on his best and final offer and decided he wanted to buy all of Twitter.
So
He
the other 90,
what?
the other 91% that he hadn't
Yes,
owned.
yes. So he's offered 43 billion to buy the other 90 point whatever percent it is he needs, and apparently that's all cash, all cash.
Yep.
$54.2 a share he's offering, which is a 54% premium over the price back in January. I think it's like
Yes.
30% premium over what it was before he announced his 9.2% purchase. So yeah, a big increase. But will the Twitter board or the shareholders go for this?
Well, so as you say, the share is a premium price on where they were in January. It's nothing like the high over a year ago when they were around $70. I think it was close to.
No.
The CEO, whose name was on the tip of my tongue and has just left me, which is embarrassing, has said that the company will not be held to ransom over this, but they have to take it. They have to take it seriously because they're forced to. They're having to take it seriously. They can't. They
Yes.
can't not. Parag Agrawal. That's it. Sorry, I couldn't think of his
That's
name.
the one. Yes.
So he said the company was not going to be held hostage. But yeah, they've got to review it. I read in a couple of the newspapers yesterday, and some sort of analysts were saying that financial analysts were saying that they think Twitter will have to take it. If they don't take
Yeah.
it, they're going to have to sell to somebody else because what's happened now is basically put them on the market without them wanting to go on the market. But he
Yeah.
said
He's forced their hand.
they're now available. And the view was that this is a hostile takeover, but it is perfectly legal in that sense. And what Musk said Musk said yesterday at the
Mm.
TED 2022 conference, which was in Vancouver in Canada.
Yeah.
He was apparently quoted as saying, "I'm not sure I'll actually be able to acquire it because he didn't think they'll go for it."
Yeah.
But he said he had a plan B because he said, didn't he, that if they didn't buy,
Yeah.
he didn't buy it, they
Well,
would.
they said, look, they said, yeah, if the deal doesn't work, given that I don't have confidence in management, nor do I believe I can drive the necessary change in the public market, I would need to reconsider my position as a shareholder.
Yeah. So what was also puzzling was that there was a tweet yesterday from the Kingdom, one of the Saudi Arabian national sort of investment, which was the Kingdom
Okay.
Holding Company,
Yep.
KHC, which is led by one of the princes, who tweeted as saying, "I don't believe that the proposed offer by Elon Musk at $54 a share comes close to the intrinsic value of Twitter given its growth prospects. As one of the largest and long-term shareholders of Twitter, I and the Kingdom KHC group reject the
Yeah.
offer." He tweeted back saying, interesting, two questions if I may. How much basically do you own directly and indirectly? And
Yeah.
what are your views on free speech? like,
Oh.
like,
Yeah, because that's what he said. I think he tweeted the other day. He believes that Twitter will neither thrive nor serve its its
yeah.
free speech societal imperative in its current form, and Twitter needs to be transformed as a private company, which is his reasoning. But yeah, that's poking it.
I was
Yeah,
like, brilliant. Poke
brilliant.
that's it. Poke the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, who,
And the SEC.
yeah. I mean, the SEC you can live with, but the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, who I think it is fair to say has a very very mixed view on human rights and free speech in certain areas. And
Yes,
there are several
it's okay as
documented
long as it aligns with our speech.
abuses of that, which this is not the time or place to get into, but you can certainly find those if you look. So yeah, so I think interesting view of him, and yeah, he certainly owns more than they do. But what would be interesting, like he said, is how much do you own indirectly, which probably poses the question
Yeah,
there of like you guys are buying more of this up than you perhaps publicly are admitting.
of
Um,
course. There'll be
so
shell
it'd be
companies and all sorts.
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see actually who how many's going to cut, whether or not they'll go for it. I think he's right. I think the shareholders probably will not go for it, given the fact that they're making more money out of it being a public company.
Yeah.
But you could get a good return depending on what you bought your shares at here.
Well, I think I mean, if they don't go for it and then he sells his shares, I expect Twitter's share price to drop
I do.
considerably at that point, which means lots of other people will buy it up at
Well,
reduced
this
price and make a killing
yeah
on it. So
yeah. I mean, you could argue is this a pump and dump, isn't it? Is he going to inflate the
yeah,
shares and then, like I say, sell them? In which case, as you say,
yeah, maybe he'll
once
buy
it's
it for a load of shell companies.
yeah, once it's once it's gone down, yeah, you're right. But this is a serious bid. I don't think this is him just having a play like he's done in the past. I think this is a serious bid for this. But who
I
knows?
mean,
Things move quickly.
he's going to be into so much trouble with the SEC on this one.
I don't know. Is he? Because it's all legal. It's all
Well, he's
about
already he's already going through court again on several accounts, isn't he? One for not getting his tweets vetted again when it comes to companies. He's also going for about the insider trading stuff, isn't he? With the SEC and his brother.
Yeah, that's the one.
And
Yeah.
now he's trying to buy the platform that this is all centered around.
But what are they ultimately going to do? Are they ultimately going to
I don't
ban
know.
him from trading? Are they going to, this? They're going to
It's the
fine him, and
SEC. I don't know. Pretty sure they probably have more or less unlimited power.
well, yeah, but they're going to fine him from what? Fine him. Um, given what he owns in terms of controls, I think they'll want to make a point, but at the same time, they're going to have to be careful, aren't they? In how
Tricky one.
they treat him, because he won't go away. He won't not
No.
be a part of companies. There'll be power there. It just perhaps then won't be through indirect control, but direct control. But
Yeah. A tricky one. A tricky
tricky
one.
one. But as you said,
Well, I'm
this is
sure there'll be more news next week.
I was just going to
Watch
say
this space.
it's been a fast paced 24 hours. Who knows what will come next? It's very likely that more information will come out, and who's he going to bid for tomorrow? Watch this space.
What
You
was
are
it
up.
when you pinged me yesterday? I was like, I've just finished writing my notes on that one.
Oh,
Right, let's
that's right.
delete my
Yeah,
notes and
yeah,
start
yeah.
again. I was like, damn it.
I was like, trust me, like you need to see this. But yeah. Okay. Right then. Talking of more money. So, normally we talk about Intel and acquisitions, but this time around,
Do.
AMD have splashed some cash and have started to move into the same kind of space that Nvidia have in the smart NIC or smart
Well,
network controllers, isn't it?
expanded it. Because they'd already bought Xilinx, hadn't they? Who also
Oh, they
make
have
smart
bought
NICs.
Xilinx, but they all make memory
And
as well,
that,
though, don't they, Xilinx?
yes, I mean, a lot of things like FPGAs and stuff as well, don't
Ah,
they?
yes,
All
yes,
sorts of
yes.
that custom stuff. So they were already starting to do smart NICs. So this is kind of expanding on that. But yeah, AMD bought a company called Pensando.
Yep, I heard of them. Yeah.
Not the 40 billion that Musk is throwing around, but 1.9 billion. So it's still a sizable investment. And yeah, they make smart NICs the entire stack, hardware and software stack. Apparently, they emerged from stealth 2 years ago, but they've got some big customers already. Goldman Sachs, IBM Cloud, Microsoft Azure, Oracle Cloud. I mean, Microsoft have even gone on the line to say, look, we've seen a 40 times improvement in overall cloud-based connection-related performance since implementing these smart NICs. So they seem pretty potent.
Well, smart NICs are really, the future now of data
Yeah,
centers, aren't they?
they
There was big
are.
announcements the other year from VMware and Nvidia around the smart NIC,
Yes,
because
they have their tie-up, don't they?
yeah, they take it because what you're doing, aren't you? You're moving a lot of that processing out of the server into the
Yep.
network card itself, isn't it? So you're getting almost like edge computing, allowing the network card to have far more control over the transportation, the communication layers, and then that freeing up the server, the virtual servers, and the other hardware to basically get on and do the rest of the job, isn't it? And
Yeah,
it
it's
really does
far
seem
more
to
than
be.
traditional hardware offload, isn't it? So most NICs nowadays will do hardware offload of TCP/IP, but it's way more than that.
Oh, good, it's way more
You know,
than
it's
that.
interrogating the traffic, redirecting. There's firewalls in place, rules, all sorts of stuff.
Well, they are mini servers to a degree when
They
you
are. It's a
break it
server
down.
within a server.
Yeah, but on a card, the size of a
Yeah.
sort of standard large, 10 gig networking card,
Yeah.
So impressive move. AMD clearly see the value of Passando here around edge computing. There's not just there's a whole data center approach here. As with Microsoft there. The other thing is things like Open RAN, the Open Radio networks, where the
Yeah.
expansion of 5G is massive as well. And we're seeing that with all the telcos and that industry flying ahead. So yeah, very impressive news from them, and I think they got them at a bargain as well. I mean, 1.9 billion. I mean, okay, it's
Ah.
not chump change, but it's not bad either, is it? They're not talking 50, 60 billion here. It's probably a reasonable sum. Probably will turn
Yeah.
out to be a bargain, no doubt, in the end.
Oh, definitely. And they're trying to compete with Amazon, aren't they? Because Amazon build all their own stuff. So Amazon have their Nitro Smart NIC, which is
Yeah.
all custom in-house stuff. So they've been the leaders by a couple of years, allegedly. But apparently this Pensando stuff kind of is meant to be better. But who will ever know on that one,
Well, I think it's funny. So they now own, as you said, they own Xilinx, who make
Yep.
FPGAs, and they now own a networking company that uses FPGA. Hang on
Yeah,
a
exactly. So
minute.
I imagine Pensando is going to be folded into Xilinx or whatever. Those groups will work together.
And their supply chain just got a lot shorter.
Yes, it did. And that's a good thing in current times.
I was going to say. Talking of supply chains making money then, so we did mention
Mm,
Intel earlier on, but Pat Gelsinger has been rolling in the cash according to
wow.
latest figures that have come out of Intel and other sources, showing that his commission, sorry, his remuneration, excuse me, I should say, not commission,
Yeah.
his remuneration for the last since he rejoined the company, what back in
So
20
for the
was it?
last 10 months of 2021 or
Oh,
whenever
February 1. Yeah,
financial year
sorry,
for
yeah,
Intel,
20. Yeah, I'm
it's
too
only
ahead of myself.
it's only
Yeah.
10 months worth, isn't it?
God, good God, yeah,
We're in the
good
wrong
God,
job.
we
We're in
are
the wrong
really in
job,
the wrong job.
clearly.
So break it down because this is amazing.
Wow. Yeah. So he had what? So he took home a basic salary of $1.1 million, along with a $1.7 million bonus. The
Okay,
big
that's cool.
number,
Yeah, good. Yeah.
169.5 million in stock awards, 5.1 million in non-equity incentive cash. Is that just another bonus? I don't know.
Uh,
$685,000 in increased pension value, uh, and $401,000 in other forms of
yeah,
compensation.
but that pension value though, did you see that about the 600, which was that was because he already had an Intel pension.
Oh, did he? Right. Okay.
So that 685,000 was a revaluation of his existing 30 years at Intel.
Oh, wow. Well, so
So
I don't
they
know what his actual pension value is, but it's increased by close to
Yeah.
seven hundred
So, but
thousand. Yeah.
but yeah. So basically, they've they've reevaluated it and increased it by that much, by over half a billion,
Wow.
half a million, excuse me.
But
That
I
five
mean,
point
what's
that
yeah,
5.1 in non equity cash, I suspect was a a what do they call it? Like a
sign-on
signing
bonus.
bonus. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my view. Yeah.
yeah. But totaling, so that's 178 million in 10 months. But in all fairness, from what we're seeing, that those stocks, they're currently worthless. Are basically going to remain that way until Intel's stock price significantly increases. So I'm guessing there are performance-related benchmarks or numbers he has to hit to turn those from into options he can vest.
But in a funny kind of way, there's you got to look at this twofold. Is it kind of the growth of the company and the investments they're making means that within 5 years, theoretically, it could pull this off to get to
Oh yeah,
the level that they need to cash out.
they've
And
got to
no,
be not easy to get, but possible to get.
no, but nobody. I
Otherwise,
mean,
it
look at
won't incentivize him, will it?
well, no, in a any kind of way, you got to look at Musk here, isn't it? That's the reason Musk has made so much money is because of Tesla,
Yeah, yeah,
because he had a similar deal with Tesla, didn't he? That
he
um,
did. Yeah,
the stock value. So, and Intel, as we said, doing massive investments in the US, in the EU as well, around reducing that supply chain, giving localized silicon manufacturer. There's great investments in the company
yeah.
there. We're seeing them with Intel Arc. We're seeing them reevaluate how they operate with other fabs and outsourcing. So it is, yeah, there is an incentive to it, but it is. I don't think this is an impossible task because they wouldn't have brought him back for that, and they want to.
No,
There's
exactly.
incentivizing, but there's not demoralizing, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It can't be impossible to get to, otherwise he just won't bother.
No,
Wow,
but
someone else got some money as well, didn't they?
well, I was just going to say though, but Bob Swan though, who is the
Oh,
previous
he's
CEO,
sore.
because this wasn't it 8 times,
8 times, because obviously they
eight
have to file
times,
these statements of the SEC, don't they, around their
yeah,
senior board members and what they make. So yeah, the one for 2020 where Bob Swan was in charge, yeah, 8 times less than what old Pat's making.
yeah, Bob. Sorry, mate, you weren't cutting the mustard.
No, that's gotta hurt.
But yes, sorry. There was someone else, as you say, who also had a bit of an increase
Yeah,
in pay as well, wasn't it? And
I
that was our.
did.
Well, we've just spoken about them, haven't we?
We have. Old Lisa Sue, Doctor Lisa Sue
Please, Carl,
of
please.
AMD. She made 29.5 million. So it kind of broke up a different way. So she had not as many stock awards. She only had 25 million in the stock awards rather than
Only.
169. 1 million base salary is not far off Pat there. Unfortunately, no bonus. But she did get a nice cool 3.1 million in non-equity incentive cash and 140,000 other forms of compensation. So she's not poor, but she's not as rich as Pat.
No, she isn't poor. You're right. She isn't poor at all. But there's rich, and then there's well, there's I guess there's comfortable, there's rich, and then there's money has no longer has any meaning. Look up Elon. When you look that up, you see Elon Musk in the dictionary. Um,
You do.
so yeah, I mean, fair play to Dr. Sue. A great compensation package there, and considering how AMD are striding really positively forward in the CPU GPU markets,
Yep.
and also now within the enterprise computing markets as well. So yeah, I think well deserved, well deserved, and yeah. But Pat, you got to your salary's good, my friend, but you've got to you've got to work on those shares, isn't it? Because I think I did read it though that the base salary of Dr. Sue and Pat was
Very
not much
close.
different, was
1 to
it?
1.1, yeah.
Yeah, it was quite similar. I was quite surprised actually, given the size of the companies and organizations. But very cool,
She's done well.
very cool.
She's taken Intel. Sorry, she's taken AMD to a really high place, a really good place. I mean, their market cap isn't far off Intel's.
No, no, I suppose no. I guess no. In reality, it's not, is it?
She's what AMD's market cap's what 150 billion odd, and
Yeah,
Intel
yeah,
around 180 something. So there's not
yeah.
a
Actually,
huge amount in it.
you make a very valid point there. You forget actually how far they've come in the last sort of 5-10 years, isn't it? And
Yeah,
yeah, snapping on the heels of the established giant. And well, actually, let's be honest, we've talked about this at length before. AMD did leapfrog Intel for some time. Obviously, it's
I'd
a bit
still say
closer.
in many segments they have as well.
Yeah, I was going to
The
say I would
but
say that the
desktop,
gaps. Well, the gaps
yeah,
closed. I'd say just a little bit. But your desktop
yeah.
CPU,
The
you're right.
desktop laptop, I'm not sure. It's kind of even now. I think yes, Intel I think might have the performance edge slightly, though. I did just see reviews on that new. Is it the 5800 with 3D X cache or whatever?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and it did beat the latest. It beat Intel's fastest in the world in quite a few benchmarks by a considerable way. Once it could take advantage of that cache by like
well,
20% kind of performance increases.
I mean, you're right. It is a lot closer than it was. You're right. AMD at one point was leaps and bounds ahead, but yeah, I think it has closed the gap, and I think it also depends what day of the week it is sometimes with the releases,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
apart from
Intel
power efficiency, where they just
well,
they
yeah,
spank
yeah,
Intel.
well, yes, yes, but I mean, if you talk about performance,
Yeah,
then the wind could blow one way. AMD are smashing it. The next thing
yeah.
Intel have
It's
dropped
not an
the
outright
latest.
lead either way on there, is
You
it?
know,
Yeah.
the next 20, the next 2900X or whatever, and they're back in the game. But yeah, one of them could power your house and heat it for a week. The other one powers your PC.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be interested to see. I've not actually seen any analysis on power. Is it performance per watt? I've not really seen those. I've not gone into too much details in the review, but I'm pretty sure AMD will probably beat Intel every day of the week on that one.
Well, Pat, get going because you've got to. If you want the 170 million, then you're going to have to ensure that AMD are
Yeah.
way ahead. No, sorry.
Oh dear.
Oh no, way behind. Sorry, I should say not way
Way
ahead.
behind. But AMD have got their new platform going to be announced so their move so this is Intel with their DDR5 brand new platform against AMD's, I suppose technically 4 or 5 year old platform. So AMD are going to be releasing their new one this year with their DDR5 and I can't remember what else it is, and move to 5 nanometers. So I'd be interested to see how that one plays out.
Oh no, don't, because I told you I'm upgrading. I'm upgrading at some point, and soon I've got to start making a decision on.
Well, so is our friend as well. So our friend we play our games with, he's looking at
Yeah,
upgrading, isn't he, soon? And obviously he's going to be an upgrade, a massive upgrade from what he's got currently. But I'm like, which way do we put him? I think AMD will be the better one, but then we're shortening the life of the platform because there'll be a new socket out this year.
yeah,
Or
but
do
I
we just
think
go
for
Intel
him,
at that point?
I think for him though, being bleeding edge or cutting edge is probably not the better bet. I wonder whether for him
No.
it's better to go one gen behind and N
I
minus
think go
one.
with the current AMD
Yeah,
on a not the X570, but the B550 because he's not going to need all those bells and whistles. Try and secure a 3070 or a 3070 Ti there, and yeah, he'll be very very happy.
I think it'll be much better because I think in that sense he'd get more value for his money, but still have a very competent system.
Yeah, with that, and obviously he's going to go from traditional SATA SSD to I'm not even sure he's got SSDs. It could be hard drives to NVMe. It's going to be an astronomical upgrade for him.
No, yeah, it's very true, very true. But I'm still, not, it still makes me, I'm none the wiser of myself.
But do
anyway,
you need one now?
anyway,
Wait till later in the year and just reevaluate in September,
I was going to
October.
say, anyway, I digress, I digress.
Anyway,
So,
let's go.
well, Russia. Well, they've also had a bad week. Let's just say
Yes,
you
they
shouldn't
have.
park. You shouldn't park large ships off the coast. It's very dangerous. Anyway, so Russia last week were.
Iceberg. Oh no, no iceberg.
Yes, icebergs had. They didn't. They. I've seen the Titanic. Um,
Not in the Mediterranean, you know.
so last week, Russia was getting quite upset with Google over and YouTube particularly over videos that were
Yep.
hosted on YouTube, purporting to
Yep.
show events in the Ukraine. And again, we're not going to debate the authenticity of those. We're just saying that they weren't very happy with the content that was shown. Well,
No.
this week it's not just Google; it's Wikipedia. So Wikipedia
Yeah.
now has been threatened by Russia over false information. So this sounds like Trump on steroids again. And
Unreliable, socially significant information, Jay.
that's right. So sorry to apologise.
Otherwise, you're just spouting fake news.
Yes. So Roskomnadzor, the Russian authority who controls media, basically like Ofcom or the FCC
Yep.
in the US, has now thrown another demand after their first one to Wikipedia to remove them that unreliable, socially significant information. Thank you.
Yep.
And if they don't comply, they're going to fine them. Hold your horses, because this is going to hurt 4 million rubles. Hang on a minute.
$50,000.
Hang on. Oh yes,
Not
sorry,
the calculator.
yeah. Just sorry, I had my sorry, $50,000.
Yeah.
I just have visions of Austin Powers, Doctor Evil. 1 million. it's like you want to ask for some more. Higher.
I forgot how much our money was worth. Yes, put a zero on that 4.
Yeah. So I don't think
Hmm.
Wikipedia are particularly bothered. I don't think the Wikimedia Foundation really cares. I don't see Jimmy. What's his name? Jimmy. What's his name? I can't think of. The guy who runs it. Well, I have a real problem with names today.
We'll just call him Mr. Wikipedia.
Just Jimmy Wales. That's it, isn't it? Jimmy
That's
Wales.
the one.
Who is the creator of board member of Wikipedia. I don't particularly feel he's going to be upset given how he feels about free speech. So yeah,
No.
I mean, they are, given everything else that's going on in Russia right now and outside Russia, of course, with Ukraine, which continues to be absolute atrocity, which we all hope will end soon. Russia clearly is not happy, are they, about Western media companies?
There were some great quotes in their letter they put out. I'll give you a few of them. So they've obviously warned Wikipedia for misinforming Russian users. My favourite is, Wikipedia has become a new line of constant information attacks on Russia, as opposed to actual attacks on Ukraine. Obviously, the authors of articles posted on Wikipedia deliberately misinform users of the internet resource with false information. In the articles published on the resource, and exclusively anti-Russian interpretation of events is promoted. Well, stop being. I can't swear. I can't swear live on air, but
no.
Stop being what you're being, and this wouldn't be a problem.
And also, don't try and hide the truth from your people, because actually this is the 21st century. And as we've said before, everybody's got a camera. Everybody's going to see things. You cannot hide anymore. You can have propaganda. You can distort the truth. But the problem is when the sources come from 10 different sources of video, or people, there starts to become a grain of truth within it that can be found the real narrative. And banning Western companies such as YouTube and Google as a whole, finding Wikipedia with information, we all know Wikipedia and that, always check your sources.
That's a grain of salt. Yeah, check your sources.
But the reality is here, it isn't playing to the fiddle of the Russian Federation, and they're not going to, and they're not going to back down. They will not be scared by not doing business in your country. So it's not going to work. And YouTube, and certainly Google in particular, is not going to back down from showing what they probably believe, and is happy to, it can see is a different point of view, that isn't isn't lying. Basically, it isn't a false narrative, and we saw that
No.
massively after the Trump situation, where everything now is fact checked beyond belief.
Yeah. And
So
these
it's
two
the right,
platforms, this isn't content put out by Google and the Wiki Foundation. This is user-generated content.
correct. People who are seeing this, who are recording it,
Exactly.
who are witnessing and, worst of all, experiencing the horror
Yeah.
that is happening. So yeah, I don't. Ross Comzador, probably done again. Is basically tying themselves up in knots, probably spitting feathers, probably causing some non-natural heart attacks to happen.
But then,
With that,
if you work there, what are you going to do? You don't really have a choice. You have to toe the line with Putin.
no, but also now, so Google though is obviously now again wrapped up and is following the piece around the YouTube. That it's about advertising now, isn't it? So they've been banned from advertising its services also, which I don't think is going to really bother them, is it?
No. So Roskomnadzor are now introducing coercive measures, aren't they? Basically banning Google from promoting services deemed to be distributing fake content. So, as defined by the Russian government.
Is this like when they? Is this like when they took over McDonald's? After they kicked them out, and they basically took the M.
The new McDonald's branding is brilliant.
Was it rotated the M 90 degrees and and made it a B or something, wouldn't it? It was like
B on it. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, classic. Just take one of the screws out of the McDonald's sign, let the M
swing
drop.
it around.
Yeah.
Are they going to change? Are they going to take Google services and remove the R and call it Roogle? Or something?
I don't know, but they're not allowed to advertise Google Search, Play, YouTube, Music, Chat, Gmail, and even third parties can't do that. So people like your Yandex search engines are now required to present information about Google services to inform users that Google is violating Russian law. So if you're on Yandex and you search for YouTube, there should be a nice little pop-up saying Google are violating Russian law. Do you want to proceed or not, I presume?
Oh, hang on a minute. I'm going to get my the smallest violin out. Bear with me a second. Bear with me.
Have you found it or have you lost it?
No. I'm not allowed to play it. It was made in Russia. Anyway,
apologies.
Anyway. So then, from one country of problems to another one with, oh my god, I'm still trying to puzzle this one out. So, Starlink then. Starlink has obviously got a lot of press recently. Funny enough, with Ukraine, wasn't it? With providing Ukrainians with access to unrestricted internet. Elon Musk provided access there. However, over in France, they're not. they're worried about the cows.
They are. We've got to love our beef here. So this is an interest. It's been an interesting story. So originally, SpaceX had obviously we're doing satellite communication. We need a ground station. Okay, so they had 3 ground stations in France. 2 were forced to shut down, even though they were fully authorized by the French telecoms regulator, the ARCEP. So basically, the 2 of them came up against local opposition, where villagers voiced their concerns that the ground stations would affect cattle, your cows, despite assurances from the country's own ANFR, then National Frequency Agency. Basically saying it's perfectly safe and far below the regulatory limit values required. But the French farmers weren't having none of this and managed to get 2 of them shut down. Now it gets worse. Poor SpaceX have now had their license pulled for the spectrum they use to speak from the satellites to the ground stations themselves. So the France's Council d'État court is revoking that spectrum license. So even though they have 1 ground station, they can't communicate with it now.
I mean, you couldn't make this up if you tried.
Well, and the reason for this one is even worse. It's not about interference with cows. It seems that the ARCEP didn't consult the public before making a decision to grant the use of the spectrum.
There is the biggest problem, isn't it? Yeah.
No, and the biggest one is, is it a coincidence that Orange has inked a deal with a Paris-based Eurotelsat to provide satellite internet to the entire French region?
Why? That's a coincidence, isn't it?
It is. Apparently, the farmers aren't worried about their cows when it's a French company.
No.
Because that must alter the properties of those signals.
I was just going to say, those American frequencies, we didn't want those Yankee frequencies, but our lovely French frequency. That's a word.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the most ridiculous thing, isn't it?
But welcome to France. This
Oh
kind of thing
yes,
happens all the time in
yes,
France.
yes. If that's it, isn't it? If you are competing in France against a French organization, it's probably a
Give
hostile
up now.
place to be. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I was more amused that the fact that the cows here were this story initially.
Not the humans. We're not worried about frying our
No, no,
brains. We're just
it's like
worried about the
5G. It's
cows.
like five. You can't put a 5G mask there. Think of the children. Think of my poor brain. You're like, do you have any idea that those signals do nothing to you? No, no, but my tinfoil hat protects me. I'm walking away now. I just had visions of fields of cows with tinfoil hats on.
No, in this case, it's not think of the children. It's think of the steak. It's
And
very
think of the
important.
milk. No, think of the
The
milk.
milk
Think of the
for the
cheese.
cheese.
You know,
The cheese, of course.
cheese, cheese.
5G cheese.
5G, yeah, well, slightly irradiated, of course. It's satellite. It's space cheese.
Space cheese. It's from the moon.
That's it. It's all right. That is it. We found it. I've just found the tagline for today's show. It's time for space cheese. That's what I've got. There we go. Good job
Put it
done.
in
Thank
there.
you. I knew it'd come to me. But yeah, so realistically, you're right. What this is more about is the fact that competition and Orange wanting to get their own satellites up there.
Monopoly, basically.
Yeah, which is what's happening, isn't it? So you tell us that there, which has got all of the capacity, isn't it, on the so Orange, sorry, have bought all of the capacity on this. The Connect satellite with a K, which provides all over the French country,
Territories.
therefore effectively freezing out not just Starlink, but there's the Amazon Project Cooper, isn't it? Kuiper, isn't it? Kuiper.
That's the one.
Which has got again, other capacity there. Yeah, this is purely simple business. The cows were just a ruse. They're the scape cow.
Somebody
They
got
are. Boom, boom.
bribed. Yep.
You did too late. I missed the joke. Where is it? Where is it? Hang on a minute. Where is it?
Got your
Where
bun.
is it? Where is it? Thank you.
They call us professionals.
Who does? Right then, come on then. Before we get to Tech Wrap Rumor Mill and we let everybody get back to eating Easter eggs, we have got then. So let's talk about iOS 15.5. Excuse me. So iOS 15.5, which is the pretty much current version, isn't it? I think it's just in.
No, it's the beta. No, it's the beta.
That's because I look at my phone and I see 15.5.
Always on the beta, living on the edge, Jay.
Always bleeding. Yes, so 15.5 then brings in new information that gives developers the option to redirect them to those third-party payment systems that we talked about earlier, and have talked about at length recently about Apple's in-app purchase system, particularly around dating applications in Holland, which is the weirdest thing, isn't it? But it's now been found through testing that 15.5 beta pops up these new sort of like push notification, isn't it? That pops up and says that your purchases are coming from an external purchase maker, and that you cannot manage or control or cancel that purchase or subscription through the App Store, isn't it? So in which case you have to contact the developer. So Apple are moving then towards compliance.
They're putting the framework, aren't they? The groundwork in for this. Say those pop-ups. I think when you first launch an app that has this third-party payment, there's going to be a pop-up, isn't there? There's that one that you just mentioned for when they delete the app to say that you bought it for a third party. We can't do anything about the billing, so go speak to your developer. It's coming in there. So I imagine that's going to be in. Well, it'll be ready for whenever 5.5 comes out, or 15.5. Sorry, it can't be that long, can it? Probably a month or two.
No, I reckon we've probably got maybe two more. We've probably got two more drops of iOS 15. To do this, and Apple, despite all of the challenges, Apple are slowly but surely complying. They're doing it on their own time, aren't they? They're not rushing. This isn't around, beating to the drum of the courts or whatever. This is Apple saying, okay, we'll do it, but these things take time, and we'll pop this in. But given the 15.4's just dropped, I reckon 5, probably another month, maybe a month and a bit, probably. To do that, but so it's going to pop up. It's going to warn you about that. That you can't manage this payment on the phone. Basically, you've got to go to the website of the company to do it. Okay, fair enough. I can live with that.
Basically, not our problem.
No, but and you're right. But is that going to bother you? It's not going to bother me.
No, I think they've just got to make it very clear because obviously we're technically savvy. We know the reasons behind this, but people have had it so ingrained that if there's a payment problem, you just speak to Apple. They handle everything for us.
This is true.
But that's not going to be the case now. So they need to make it very clear. But I imagine they're still going to have a lot of people saying, well, I want money back for the app. And Apple's going, well, we didn't buy it from us. Well, I bought it through your app store. But you can see where this is going. There's going to be a lot of people who just don't really understand that, or like my parents, just click OK or no or X on a pop-up and don't actually read it.
No, I know.
You've been there. The amount of calls you get saying, "Oh, there's an error message." What does it say? I don't know. I didn't read it.
Don't.
But how do you expect me to fix it? But
No,
this is what. Yeah, this is what it's going to be like, isn't it?
Oh, don't. I had experienced that yesterday.
Going to give you nightmares. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody closer to home. I can't speak, but
yeah,
it's not fair. It's not fair but yes. But yes, it's coming. It's compliance. We knew it would do, and in fact, I'm quite pleased it is. It just means that we can stop talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We can stop talking about it. But anyway, so then the before we get into the tech round rumor mill for this week, then bit of a random one. This one, I guess you could say. And so it's the Bluetooth special interest group, the people who regulate the Bluetooth configuration, the libraries, the specification of how Bluetooth works, isn't it?
Yep.
Seem to be having some kind of weird court case
breakdown
with possibly with Fiat Chrysler, who make Dodges and Jeeps in the US, and also Fiat.
It's Stellantis now, isn't it? Because they merged Fiat Chrysler and Peugeot.
Yes,
so we're now Stellantis.
Right. What a great name! I've not seen a Stellantis on the road though. Have you?
No, I think that's the parent company, but yeah.
Come on.
So I want to. That sounds like quite a cool brand for a car. But
yeah, my Stellantis. Have you seen my Stellantis?
But yeah, to me, this story is just kind of crazy and just smacks of corporate greed. But no. So back in 2018, the Bluetooth SIG, they sued Stellantis, or it was FCA at that point, for using its trademarks on their cars. Which is an odd one. So it seems that even though FCA had bought car stereos from the likes of Alpine and Harman and Panasonic, who had paid the Bluetooth SIG for their their declaration fees, they've had their products certified, so they are fully Bluetooth certified car stereos. It seems that if you actually stick them in a car and try and sell that car, apparently the Bluetooth SIG want you to pay again. Because your car isn't Bluetooth certified.
This is ridiculous, and I think you said to me offline earlier, this is a double dip, isn't it? From Bluetooth.
It basically
is. Why would the worst car?
Thing is, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Why would the car need to be Bluetooth certified? I'm missing something here.
That's it. But even the initial court case, SIG's argument doesn't seem to be that the FCA is tarnishing its brand by putting a Bluetooth logo on, or that they're providing a bad experience. And there are compatibility issues. There's none of that in the court's case. The crux is that they insist you can't say the car has Bluetooth just because it has a Bluetooth stereo fitted. Well, obviously, without paying them some money anyway.
That is just the most ludicrous statement ever.
But as it's America, it seemed the lower court agreed with the Bluetooth SIG.
Of course they did. Of course they did.
Obviously granted them the trademark dispute. Well, obviously the FCA were like, really? So they've gone to the Court of Appeal, US Appeals Court, and thankfully someone there has some sense and has sent it back to the lower court, and they said the initial argument was wrong, and now they need to relook at this.
I mean, the problem is if they win this case, it opens up, doesn't it, that basically Bluetooth will probably try and sue every auto manufacturer to say their cars are not Bluetooth compliant and that your stereo there is wrong. But yeah, hopefully this will die in that courtroom.
But
and
where does this go? So does this now move on to PCs?
Yeah.
My PC isn't Bluetooth certified, but the Bluetooth module is, and you can now say it has Bluetooth. Same as your laptops. They're all advertised with Bluetooth, aren't they? But I'm pretty sure the laptop itself hasn't gone through the Bluetooth SIG's certification process. Only the Bluetooth module in it has.
Yeah, so when I take that card out, or I say I remove that, and I've no longer got Bluetooth in it, well, my laptop isn't certified anyway. So, there's nothing there for it to be certified for. So, this is a strange proposition. It's not like it's built directly into the the system, and I know on some things they are, but if you think of it as an expansion card or a chip, if you remove
Yeah.
that, then what's the need for certification?
Yeah. So I mean, you even need to ultimately you need to certify. Maybe you say we're certifying the end product, but is the end product the car as a whole? And if so, then I'm not buying a stereo with certification because I will certify it at the end. Or is the stereo the finished product? In which case we certify the stereo. It doesn't matter what you do with it at that point; it's Bluetooth certified. I mean, they can't have it both ways, surely. Not
No,
that
it's
that's what they
it,
want, but
that's what they
yeah,
want. But many other cases of this have fallen because the court has seen it as double dipping, and I think
yeah.
this looks to be a very similar case here. And like you say, let's hope that the common sense prevails and that they get dropped, because ultimately this just opens up a can of worms all round, doesn't it?
So it's going to make everyone's life more expensive at a time when we don't need it to be more expensive.
Well, no, that's a very valid point given everything's going on.
Maybe we just need an open source alternative for no royalties.
Right, get cracking. We'll see you next week with the first sketches on that. Yeah.
Well, isn't it's Matter? That's open source, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah,
The Zigbee whatever replacement Matter. That's open source. Maybe we could just
yeah.
all move to Matter.
Okay.
I mean,
Well then,
everyone seems to be embracing it. We'll just ditch Bluetooth. I know we'd have the legacy problem, but
go
eventually that
Matter,
will go
go,
away.
go
Yeah.
Matter, go. Right then, I think it's time for this. Well, Carl, it's the return of the Tech Rat Rumor Mill, and
It
we've
is.
got two stories this week, which are, well, Apple aligned. It's the Rumor Mill, it's Apple, and
Mm.
we're getting closer to WWDC then. So, kick off the first one of the week, then, Carl.
Well, this is one from Mr. Gurman himself and his pal. Actually, they're both from Mr. Gurman, but the
They
first one
are.
I think is a non-story. But surprise, the story isn't that we're getting iOS 16 and watchOS 9. I think that's a given at this point. But he's saying iOS or iPadOS, iOS is going to be a major upgrade of it won't be a major upgrade with end-to-end redesign. Sorry, it's a major upgrade, no end-to-end redesign. It says there's going to be fairly significant enhancements across the board, including updated notifications and new health tracking features. Apparently, iPadOS is going to get a new multitasking interface again.
Okay.
I mean, I think the way it currently is nice. The first iteration was
By the way,
terrible.
I used Universal Control yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Whilst out, and the swift move to move my mouse straight through the side of the Mac into the iPad, and the mouse just moves around, and I could use all the keyboard shortcuts, and I could run
Yeah.
apps, is a beautiful thing. I do think it does need to have the ability to run multiple apps at the same time, where you can, you can swap between them.
I think maybe that's it. Maybe we're going to get actually windowed apps on iPad.
That would be more effective, I think, in my opinion. Like you get snaps in Windows where you could snap the
Yes,
window. That's what
brilliant.
iPad OS needs.
Does macOS do that yet?
It
Snaps.
does a similar way, but not in the same design layout.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, gotcha. Because I used to add when I was running a Mac, I used to have to use it. Was it Better Snap Tool?
Yeah.
Because there was
There are
no
ways around
snapping
it.
whatsoever.
No, there are ways around it, but there isn't. You can't. It's not the same experience, obviously.
Gotcha. Okay. But yeah, so I mean, the first iPad multitasking interface was terrible. I could never remember the gestures you had to use, so it just never got used. The new one it's got the little three dots at the top you can pull
Yeah.
down on. It makes it very simple. The gesture isn't a problem now, but yeah, if I could have Windows, maybe that's what he's referring to. He is also saying that iOS 16 is chock full of references to the Apple's AR headset and how it interacts with the iPhone. Though he says that it's unlikely to be announced at WWDC, but obviously definitely within the lifespan of iOS 16. But that's quite broad. That's going to be from what, June this year till September next year. So at some point in the next year and a bit, we're going to get an AR headset. Yeah,
that kind of alludes more to a 2023 launch, doesn't it? Because
I
given
think
you
it
say
does.
September through to June, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, makes sense.
But this doesn't really sound like a major upgrade, like he's saying it is.
No, I don't think it is. I think they're going to just polish what 15 brought in, some of the changes there.
Yeah, it isn't thrilling me, with the exception of the AR headset.
No, but I wouldn't worry. You'll upgrade anyway.
Well, oh yeah, it's not going to cost me anything, so I'm going to upgrade anyway. Yeah, but and there were some tidbits on the Apple Watch, just basically saying that it's getting major upgrades to activity and health tracking. So whether we're going to get some more sensors in there, he hasn't mentioned, but I imagine we'll probably see a new sensor at some point.
Well, good, because I will upgrade to I think I probably will upgrade to an 8.
Yeah, I've got a 4, so mine is well past upgrade time on that.
Yeah, I think you're in time for that. So yeah, look, it should be good. We'll get a new watch, a new phone then.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Maybe a new iPad.
Or maybe a new MacBook Air.
Oh no. Well, maybe if Mr. Gurman is right, he is also speculating that two new Macs will appear at WWDC. He says obviously one is likely to be the new MacBook Air, and he's speculating that it's going to be all multicolored versions like you get with your iMac.
So I think this has credibility, because I think
Yeah,
they want to reinvent the Air lineup. They've done it with the iPad, so I think they'll now move this to the
yeah,
same way with the MacBook Air. Because if you
yeah.
think of what the Air stood for, portability and everything's great, but look what's happened to the iPad Air in the sense of it's got a bit chunkier, but it's got, it's positioned itself as that kind of sweet spot, hasn't it? And I think,
It's not
whilst there
cheap,
isn't,
not expensive. It's nicely middle ground.
and I think the MacBook Air will do the same. Given that, with probably with an M2 chip, it'll
Yep,
get
I
the
imagine
colors
so.
probably. I can't see why they wouldn't do that. I think they'd want to tie it into the iMac sort of appeal as well.
Yep.
And if you don't want that, if you want to, you get a base model MacBook Pro. The really entry
Yeah.
level MacBook Pro, because that'll do everything you wanted it. But if you want, something a little bit different, then I think you'll get something like this. The colors would be good. I think they would hark back, wouldn't it, to the old PowerBooks and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I like the idea of this. I don't think this is crazy. Reality, I'm not. Maybe I'm not committed, but I do think it is a plausible view.
Definitely. Now, he's mentioned 2, but didn't actually tell us what the second one was. But we can always hypothesize. What are we missing so far? We're still missing the Mac
Pro.
Pro. It's definitely due before the end of the year. They said that in the announcement, didn't they? They said it
Yeah,
was
they did
coming
say
soon,
that.
the Mac Pro. They said
Yeah,
that they said it in their own words on their own show. So
yeah.
could that be at WWDC? Don't know.
I think it could do. I think you could see the MacBook Pro then. Because
Yeah.
being a developer event, they'll want to. It might be a special announcement,
Yeah.
to kind of say, look, we promised you it's coming. Here is it, and at the same time, I don't know, maybe announce some really kind of revamped versions of Logic Pro, or other other
Yeah.
high end applications that you'd want to
Yeah.
use a Mac Pro for. And that would be probably the time when they announce it.
Don't think you'll be able to buy it, but I think it will
No,
be announced for
no,
a
I think it'll
release
be
maybe
announced.
later towards the the end of the year.
Yeah, agreed.
But I mean, the other options are iMac Pro. I'm still not convinced we're ever getting
No,
an
I think
iMac
that's
Pro
dead.
now.
That's dead. The studio's killed that. The studio's killed
That's
that.
what I think. Yeah, that's gone. Updated Mac Mini. We've got the studio, but could we see a Mac
No,
Mini with an
I
M1
don't.
Pro?
No, I think I have a feeling they'll hold off for that and do an M2.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know how much quicker the M2 will be over the M1. Or is the
But
Mac Mini now just it's your low cost one? There'll be no
I
power
think,
version of the Mac Mini.
yeah, I think that's the case. I think the Mac Mini is your entry level
But
now.
then we don't have a desktop really with an M1 Pro, do we?
Well, no, but I suppose their view is, why would you? You've got a choice between the Max and the Ultra.
Because there's a big price gap between your Mac Mini with
Yeah.
M1 and your Studio with Max.
Or maybe, what they could do? They could quietly release, without an event, what they've done in the past,
Yeah,
a new SKU with an M1 Pro on the Mac Mini.
yeah. I think they are missing a gap there because what's a Mac Mini cost? $600, $700 at
Yeah,
starting configuration, and the Studio is $2,000 starting configuration.
yeah. You
There's
could
a lot
see.
of money left on the table in between.
Yeah, I think you could see potentially maybe, I think, a paper release for that.
Yeah. I don't think it's not going to be a star-studded event kind of thing, definitely.
No,
But
no,
I
no.
think we
That'll
will see
that'll
one with an M1 Pro.
yeah, that'll just show up in the store, I think.
Yeah, it will do.
Yeah.
And I suppose the last one is a replacement to the low-end MacBook Pro, the 13.
Yeah, that needs to be changed, doesn't
Because
it?
that's still running just M1. It's not got the new design or anything. That's the last one that hasn't really been updated.
Again,
M2, I
I
think, on that
I
one
think
though.
that's an M2 job, and then that completes the chassis lineup, as in the same look and
Yeah,
feel, and it'll have an M2 entry level processor to give you modular increasement in performance, but you'll get ProMotion, you'll get all the other nice bits and bobs. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I think so. But my money's on the Mac Pro still.
yeah, yeah.
Mac Pro, MacBook Air.
Well, I'm looking forward to WWDC. It is again going to be a hybrid event with a small selection of people in attendance for the keynote, but then and I think they'll be doing some developer events on site, but the bulk of it will be virtual, so we
Yep.
can get to see the keynote, which will be good. But yeah, who knows? But the colourful, the MacBook Air colours, I like them. I'd probably have one of those as like a go-to, machine, but I wouldn't use it as a daily driver. But yeah, it'd be nice.
Fun for the kids.
Yeah, yeah, really.
They've been good all year.
If they've been good, yeah. Well, on that note, then it's probably a good place for us to wrap it out and get everybody back to go back to eating Easter eggs or whatever your particular food of choice is of this holiday season. We'll be back next week for episode 84 of the Weekly Tech Rant. Of course, you can find us online on Twitter at Weekly Tech Rant. That's if Elon hasn't bought it up and sold it off by that point. We're also available on techrant.online for all of our show notes and links to our other sources. And of course, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. So with that, I've been Jay.
I've been Carl. Have a good Easter, everyone.